Hello, we're our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the explosive developments hitting Salem on Monday, October 6th, as relationships are tested, dangerous schemes unfold, and painful secrets from the past come rushing back to haunt several beloved characters. Stephanie's nightmare returns to her doorstep. The peaceful life Stephanie Johnson has carefully built for herself is about to shatter into a million pieces when her toxic ex-boyfriend Jeremy Horton materializes at her front door clutching a bouquet of flowers. As if a simple floral arrangement could erase the emotional scars he left behind. Just moments before this unwelcome arrival, Stephanie had been opening up to Alex about the dark chapters of her relationship with Jeremy, describing a pattern of emotional manipulation, controlling behavior, and psychological abuse that left her questioning her own judgment and self-worth. The timing couldn't be more unsettling. She had barely finished recounting how Jeremy never physically harmed her, but wielded his words and actions like weapons, making her feel small and powerless during their tumultuous time together. Jeremy's sudden appearance in Salem comes under the guise of professional rehabilitation. He claims he's transformed into a responsible educator who will be substituting at North Salem Elementary School, teaching 5th grade, which coincidentally happens to be Thomas DeMera's class. The convenience of this situation raises immediate red flags for anyone who knows Jeremy's history of reckless schemes and criminal activities, including his past involvement in smuggling operations that nearly destroyed multiple lives. Stephanie's expression when she opens that door tells the entire story. This is a woman confronting the ghost of her traumatic past, a chapter she desperately hoped was permanently closed and buried deep where it could never hurt her again. The flowers Jeremy brings represent more than just a peace offering. They symbolize his classic pattern of love bombing and manipulation, the exact tactics he used during their relationship when things got bad, and he needed to reel her back in with grand romantic gestures. Alex had just finished reassuring Stephanie that none of the abuse was her fault, providing her with the emotional validation she needed to hear. Yet now she must face her abuser directly and determine whether his claims of personal growth hold any truth or if this is simply another chapter in his manipulative playbook. The questions racing through Stephanie's mind are endless. What kind of educational institution hires new teaching staff in October? Well, after the school year has commenced, does Salem truly only operate one elementary school, making this encounter somehow inevitable? And most importantly, is Jeremy genuinely reformed? Or is he the same dangerous man hiding behind a respectable profession? Thomas demands the truth from his father. Young Thomas DeMera has reached his breaking point with the secrets and lies swirling around his father's romantic life, and he's ready to confront Chad head-on about the shocking relationship that has developed with Kat Green. The revelation didn't come gently through a heart-to-heart conversation with his father. Instead, Thomas learned the devastating news from Rachel Black, a spiteful and bratty child who took perverse pleasure in shattering his sense of security by revealing that Chad and Kat have been kissing and are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. This method of discovery makes the betrayal cut even deeper, as Thomas feels his father deliberately kept this monumental development hidden from him, treating him like a child who couldn't handle adult truths rather than including him in decisions that directly affect their family dynamics. What makes this situation exponentially more complicated is that Thomas remains completely unaware of Kat's truly sinister history. He doesn't know that she attempted to impersonate his deceased mother Abigail, cruelly exploiting the family's grief and desperate hope for an impossible miracle. He also has no idea that Kat and her brother had been plotting to murder Chad, making her presence in their lives not just emotionally problematic but potentially deadly. Even without knowing these horrifying details, Thomas's instincts are screaming that something feels fundamentally wrong about this relationship, and his confrontation with Chad forces his father into an impossible position where he must decide how much truth a young boy can handle. Chad finds himself scrambling to formulate explanations on the spot, attempting to justify his relationship choices while protecting his son from information that could psychologically damage him. The conversation becomes a delicate dance of partial truths and careful omissions, as Chad tries to help Thomas understand that adults sometimes develop feelings in complicated circumstances, all while avoiding the explosive revelation that Kat is essentially the woman who pretended to be Thomas's resurrected mother. This father-son confrontation represents a crucial turning point in their relationship, testing whether Chad can maintain Thomas's trust while navigating his own complex feelings for a woman whose past actions should logically make her untouchable and off-limits. Kat and Rafe's dangerous mission against EJ. Behind Salem's seemingly normal facade, Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez are orchestrating an audacious undercover operation designed to infiltrate EJ DiMera's criminal organization and expose the illegal activities they believe he's conducting through a suspicious new hospital wing construction project. Their investigation intensified after Kat shared a meal with Gwen von Leuskner and extracted crucial information that deepened their suspicions about EJ's true intentions for this medical facility expansion. The more intelligence Kat and Rafe gather, the more convinced they become that EJ is using legitimate business ventures as cover for nefarious operations that could potentially harm innocent people throughout Salem. However, their strategic planning reveals significant gaps in execution. They've clearly identified Step 1, infiltrate EJ's organization, and Step 3, expose his dirty dealings. But the critical Step 2 concerning exactly how they'll accomplish this dangerous mission remains frustratingly vague and underdeveloped. During their secret meeting, Rafe presents Kat with a bold new idea that could either crack the case wide open or blow their cover entirely, putting both their lives at serious risk if EJ discovers their true agenda. Kat faces an agonizing decision about whether to fully commit to Rafe's risky proposal, especially given the complicated reality that she's now romantically involved with Chad DiMera, EJ's brother, creating a tangled web of conflicting loyalties and potential betrayals. The personal stakes couldn't be higher for Kat as she attempts to balance her developing feelings for Chad against her commitment to this dangerous investigation. If Chad discovers she's been using their relationship as cover to spy on his family, any trust they've built will evaporate instantly. Yet Kat feels morally obligated to see this mission through if EJ truly represents a threat to public safety. Rafe's plan, whatever its specific details, will require Kat to take actions that push her deeper into EJ's inner circle, increasing both the danger level and the likelihood that someone will eventually penetrate her carefully constructed deception. The question hanging over this entire operation is whether Kat possesses the nerve to execute Rafe's strategy while maintaining her cover story, or whether the emotional complications with Chad will ultimately compromise everything they've worked to achieve. Kayla becomes Jennifer's confidant in crisis. Jennifer Horton finds herself drowning in an ocean of conflicting emotions as she watches Chad DiMera pursue a romantic relationship with Kat Green, the woman who committed the unforgivable act of impersonating Jennifer's deceased daughter Abigail. The psychological torture of this situation exceeds anything Jennifer has previously endured, even surpassing the bizarre experience of having her husband Jack return from the dead on multiple occasions, a phenomenon that has unfortunately become routine in Salem. While both Jennifer and Kayla Johnson have extensive experience navigating the peculiar challenge of deceased husbands mysteriously resurrecting and reclaiming their place in the family, they possess far less practice dealing with the specific nightmare Jennifer currently faces. The unique cruelty of Jennifer's predicament lies in its layers of violation. First, she lost her beloved daughter Abigail in a tragic death that ripped her heart out and left a permanent void in the family. Then, Kat appeared and cruelly exploited that grief by pretending to be Abigail returned from the dead, dangling false hope before inevitably revealing herself as an imposter. Now, adding insult to devastating injury, Jennifer must witness her former son-in-law Chad developing genuine romantic feelings for the very woman who desecrated Abigail's memory through her impersonation scheme. This progression of violations feels deliberately designed to maximize Jennifer's suffering, making it nearly impossible for her to process or accept Chad's choices without feeling like he's betraying Abigail's legacy. Unable to contain her anguish and confusion any longer, Jennifer seeks counsel from her sister-in-law Kayla, hoping that Kayla's wisdom and experience can provide some framework for understanding Chad's incomprehensible behavior. Kayla approaches this delicate conversation with compassion and honesty, drawing upon her deep understanding of how grief can make people act in unexpected and sometimes irrational ways as they desperately search for connection and healing. The advice Kayla offers Jennifer centers on concepts of forgiveness, trust, and recognizing that Chad's emotional journey belongs to him, even when his choices cause collateral damage to those around him. However, Kayla also validates Jennifer's feelings, acknowledging that no one should expect her to simply accept Kat's presence in the family or pretend that her actions can be easily forgotten or forgiven. This heart-to-heart conversation between two women who have survived countless Salem catastrophes becomes a pivotal moment for Jennifer as she determines whether she can find a path forward that allows Chad to pursue happiness without feeling like she's abandoning Abigail's memory. Kayla reminds Jennifer that healing from trauma doesn't follow a predictable timeline or logical progression, and that sometimes people form connections in the aftermath of tragedy that outsiders can't fully comprehend or condone. The fundamental question Jennifer must answer is whether she can separate her justified anger toward Kat from her desire to see Chad eventually find peace and companionship, or whether Kat's actions have created an unbridgeable divide that will permanently fracture the family dynamics. The emotional weight of these conversations reflects the broader theme running through Salem this week. How do people move forward when the past refuses to stay buried, and when the choices made by those we love feel like personal betrayals of shared history and values? Monday's episode promises to deliver powerful performances as these characters navigate impossible situations where no clear right answers exist. Only difficult choices with far-reaching consequences that will reverberate through their relationships for months to come.